Turning back to the pandemic, there's a lot of concern about vaccine misinformation on platforms like Facebook. And President Biden has pushed social media companies to take stronger action to block it. Nearly all of the latest COVID deaths are among unvaccinated people. In a one-on-one interview, we spoke exclusively with Facebook CEO and co-founder, that's Mark Zuckerberg. We asked him how many people have seen false information about COVID and vaccines on his platform. I get that you all have taken down 18 million pieces of misinformation, but one of the things that the White House has asked for repeatedly and still hasn't gotten a number is how much misinformation have people viewed and shared? Do you have that number?
Well, if we see harmful misinformation on the platform, then we take it down. It's against our policies. So the 18 million number that I shared is the number of pieces of content that that we've seen on the platform that we take down. Now, do we catch everything? You know, of course, there are mistakes that we make or areas where we need to improve, but that's the best number that we have in terms of what we've seen and what our systems have been able to detect.
But I do think those are two separate issues. You've taken down 18 million pieces of misinformation, but how many people have viewed the misinformation? Is it more than 18 million? Is it less than 18 million? That's the number I think people are talking about. You know, the White House said at one point, Facebook is killing people. That was very bold and very blunt and very provocative, and I think the president walked that back. But the point he was making, I believe, is that people look at it and they act upon it or they don't act upon it, and Facebook is being blamed for that. That's why I'm trying to nail down what is the number of misinformation that people have viewed. Maybe you don't know it. Maybe you all don't know that number. Do you see the point I'm making? There are two different numbers here.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I mean, the number that I have off the top of my head that I can share is the number of pieces of misinformation that we've taken action against. We also have millions of people who've used our vaccine finder tools to take their step towards getting the vaccine, and hundreds of millions of people have visited in the U.S. and in other places have visited the coronavirus information hub to get authoritative information about this.
Yeah, it is an ongoing question. With the technology that we have today,
yes,
it seems like you would know all of that. You would know those numbers.
The scope of the problem, the size of the audience, what draws people's attention, what holds their attention. And if you knew that from a public health point of view, then you could combat it more effectively.
Well, that's what their business model is based on, is developing that information. So I find it hard to believe he doesn't have it.
He said, and there's a difference between misinformation and vaccine hesitancy. He said a lot of this is vaccine hesitancy. It's not misinformation. We'll have more on that tomorrow.
How they define it is going to be very fascinating.
Also very interesting. Facebook says that since the start of the pandemic, more than 2 billion people have viewed reliable information about COVID and vaccines on its platform. We'll have more of our exclusive interview with Mark Zuckerberg. That's tomorrow right here on CBS This Morning, including the reason why he sat down with us. He has a special announcement about the future of Facebook. Believe me, he wasn't thinking, you know, I'd like to come on and talk about this information on the platform. That is not why he sat down with us, but he certainly understands that we have to address the news of day, and he was more than willing to do that.
Yeah, good on him for being willing to engage.
Exactly right.